excited for the holidays? Excellent. And who's excited for some turkey coming up later this year? Excellent. My friends, thank you so much for being here. My name is Eric Haley. I am the president and CEO of Feel Well, Live Well. The first thing I want to do, of course, is acknowledge you for being here because it is our privilege to welcome you. And so we have a little tradition in our company, and so I need you to get a little hokey for me for a moment. I need you to take both your arms just like this, wrap around both your neighbors, pull them in tight, and say, "Aren't you glad you sat next to me?" And now give them a little pat on the back and say, "Congratulations for being here." I'll never forget the year that I came home from my office at the time. I had quit my full-time job because I had these crazy dreams and these crazy aspirations because I wanted to do something different with my life. Anybody relate here? I knew that I had additional skills. I knew that I really wanted to contribute in a different way to society. And I had this crazy vision that the moment I quit my full-time job, I would be able to open up an office, and the day I said my office was open, I would have this line of people waiting to come and receive services and actually pay me money. And that's exactly what happened, with the exception of everything after me opening up my doors. Because I had zero experience, because I had no clue what the heck I was doing with business, we very quickly realized that things were going to be just a little bit harder than we had anticipated. And I'll never forget the day that I had to come home and I had to walk up to Heather, who was pregnant with our second child at the time. And I said, "Heather, sit down. You're going to need to be sitting down for this news." And I took her by the hands and I said, "Heather, will you please forgive me? I haven't even made enough money to put food on the table for us. Nor have I even made enough money this month to keep a roof over our heads." It was right around the holiday time. And when a man has to look his wife in the eyes, the man who's supposed to be the provider, the protector of his house, of his sanctuary, when he has to look his bride, his queen in the eyes and say he hasn't been able to do his basic duties, to provide the basic necessities for her, it does something to him. Well, thankfully, there were people around that time that were willing to help us out. They were willing to give us a hand up. There were people willing to kind of take us under their wing. And it was amazing because literally 1 year later, we had gone from being on welfare, our business had taken off, and we had just moved from our tiny 900 square foot home in Provo to this $1 million home up in Emigration Canyon. And Thanksgiving was coming up. And we said, "Oh my gosh, things have really turned around for us. We want to do something special." And so we contacted our bishop from our Provo ward, and we said, "Is there anyone that happens to be in your ward that may need some assistance for Thanksgiving this year? Last year someone helped us out, and so we want to pay it back, we want to pay it forward. And so is there anyone living in your ward boundaries that could really benefit from having a Thanksgiving meal brought to them?" And he said, "Actually, yeah, there's this family living at this address here." And I looked at the address. And I looked at Heather. And I said, "You gotta be kidding me." It was the same house we just moved out of. Just 1 year earlier, someone had given us a hand up and helped us to get out of it that we were in. And 1 year later, we were able to do the exact same thing. And so we got a whole new turkey, and we got all these boxes of food, and Heather had the privilege of waking up super early and going and delivering it to this house. And of course, we didn't do it. We didn't say, "Oh, by the way, this is from us." We just dropped it off, just for that feeling. And from that moment forward, we realized that the old saying comes true: with great prosperity comes great responsibility. Yes or yes? Yes. Say that with me. With great prosperity comes great responsibility. And so from that day forward, we wanted to do everything we possibly could to try to give back. And so celebration of Thanksgiving and evening of giving back was created in that moment. And as Edina beautifully put it, last year we had the privilege of feeding 500 people. It's something that one of the most things I'm proudest of in my entire career. And this year, thanks to all of you, we have the goal of feeding 1,000 people. And so my friends, from the bottom of my heart, one more time, thank you so very much. So one more time, let's get a little hokey. Reach over, grab the arm of the person next to you. Give them a little shaky shake. And say, You are so smart for being here. Now give your neighbor a high five and say, you look pretty generous to me. Now, one of the things I do for work is I'm a licensed hypnotherapist, and so I get to work with people from all walks of life, and it's fascinating because we live in the most prosperous nation on this planet, don't we? We enjoy comforts and luxuries that most other countries can only dream of. I know because I had the privilege of serving for a couple of years in South America as a missionary, and I served in these areas where running water was considered a luxury in a lot of these places, where having warm water was considered a luxury, or actually having a full bathroom was considered a luxury. I'll never forget the day that I walked into a hospital to go and visit an investigator that we were teaching, and I excused myself to use the restroom, and when I went to wash my hands, I said, oh, where's the soap? And they looked at me and they said, are you kidding me? What, you think you're back in the United States? We can't afford soap here. And I thought, oh my gosh, here's a country that they don't even have the funds to buy soap inside a hospital. And I remembered all the times that I had complained about all the prosperity that we had enjoyed. These people down there are some of the most grateful, some of the most friendly people. In fact, for my 21st birthday, right before I came home, I'll never forget this woman that we had taught. She came up to me, she walked all the way across the city because most people don't have cars down there, but she made the journey. She walked across the entire city, and she waited until we were getting home in the evening, and she just wanted to say, Elder Bailey, thank you so much for everything that you've done. I just wanted to give you a special gift on your birthday. And I looked down, she said, I've been saving up for this for a few months. And I thought, well, what could it possibly be? And I opened up this package, and there was a little packet of soda crackers and a little box of juice. And she'd saved up for months just to give that to me for my birthday. And I thought, oh my gosh, this means more to me than anything I could possibly imagine. And I thought, holy smokes, these people down here, they celebrate their lack of prosperity. And I was over here complaining about all the prosperity that we had. I'm really pleased to announce that later today, of course, John, by the way, is going to be presenting to us. How many of you are familiar with him? By the way, yeah, oh my word. And how many of you are familiar with Brent Wilcox as well? Excellent, yeah. Well, I'll talk about them a little bit more later on, but I once heard John Wilcox. Put those two together, right? I once heard John, by the way, talk about these people that he goes, holy smokes. I complain about my blessings, and these people don't even complain about their problems. And it reminded me of when I was 10 years old. I came home from a soccer game, and I was super hungry, and so I went to my mom, who's here tonight, and I said, Mom, would you be willing to make me a sandwich? And she said, well, sure, of course. And I said, ooh, could I have a grilled cheese? And she said, yeah, I'd be happy to make you a grilled cheese sandwich. And so I sat down at the table, and she goes, okay. And she was so nice. She even presented it for me. And I looked at the grilled cheese, and I looked at her. And I looked at the grilled cheese, and I realized that she had committed the unpardonable sin of making my grilled cheese sandwich with cheddar cheese and not American cheese.
Off with her head.
And so, being the mature, wonderful 10-year-old boy that I was, I did what any other mature, wonderful 10-year-old boy would do. And I took this freshly made grilled cheese sandwich in my hand, and I chucked it across the kitchen, and it landed on the floor with a big boom. And my mom just looked at me like, did that really just happen? And she looked at the floor, and she looked at me, and she looked at the floor, and she looked at me, and she looked at the floor at me, and I went, ooh, that wasn't a good thing to do? And she goes, nope. Never forget that story because it's made such a huge impression in my mind. So fast forward a number of years later, when I was getting ready to become a missionary, I had a number of things that I really, really wanted. How many of you are familiar with the missionary program and how it works? How many of you are not? Have you no clue what I'm talking about? That's okay. A few of you, that's totally fine. For those of you that are familiar, in our faith, the people that want to serve as missionaries, most people have the opportunity when they get to a certain age, and you fill out this paperwork, and you send it into the headquarters of our church, and basically you could be called to serve almost anywhere in the world, speaking almost any language in the world. And I wanted three things. I really, really wanted to go to a different country to learn about other cultures. I really, really wanted to go to a mission where I would walk everywhere that I went so I wouldn't get like too fat. Yeah, I worried about that. And I really wanted to learn Spanish because I was in the restaurant industry at the time, and a lot of people that work in the restaurant industry speak Spanish, and so I wanted to be able to communicate better with them. And I told my mom this, and she said, well, I got a fourth thing to add to that list. I said, what's that? She goes, I really hope you go to a third world country so you come back and you're not such a brat. And be careful what you wish for, because you just might.
Yes.
And so I opened up what's called the mission call. And it said, Dear Elder Bailey, you're hereby called to serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You are called to serve in the Peru Lima South mission. Yeah, you'll be preaching the gospel in the Spanish language. And I said, holy smokes, I got everything. And my mom said, holy smokes, you got everything, and so did I. You're going to be none less of a brat when you come back. And I said, ooh. And I went. And as I mentioned, these people celebrate everything that they possibly have, even from the tiniest little packet of crackers and a little carton of juice. And I made the wheels of my brain start to turn, because as a hypnotherapist, as I mentioned, I work with people with all types of mental illnesses. One of the most prolific ones that I work with is people with depression. And it's fascinating because even though we are the most prosperous nation on this planet, those of us that are spiritual, we refer to this nation as a promised land. We're also one of the highest nations when it comes to depression and other mental illnesses. And I remember just thinking about that, thinking, well, how could that possibly be? How could we have so many things? How could we enjoy so many luxuries, so many comforts, and yet we're still one of the most medicated countries on this planet? May I be so bold as to suggest, as a licensed hypnotherapist, that one of the reasons why we are such a depressed country is a lack of celebration in our lives. A number of years ago, I went with my wife and my father-in-law to do an expo. It's one of the ways that we do marketing for our company. We'll go to expos similar to the ones that they hold here. We'll get a booth. Anybody been to one of those expos before? How many of you came from the Pinterest conference, by the way, or walked by it or so, or just said, what the heck is going on here? You know? And so we do things like that all the time because it gets us leads, and we'll call them up and we'll convert them into paying clients. Well, we were at this particular expo. It was around the holiday time. And normally these expos are attended by thousands and thousands of people, and so we're able to very, very easily get several dozen contacts, people's names and phone numbers and emails, and we're able to call them up and convert them into paying clients. But for whatever reason, whether it was lack of advertising, whether it was location, or whatever it was, there were more vendors at the conference than there were participants. It was a 2-day expo, and I kept watching all these people that had invested hundreds and hundreds of dollars to be there as vendors, as the realization kept sinking in that they were losing money by the hour because nobody was coming in purchasing their products. And I remember after the very first day, we were all just beat. I mean, we were there, and of course we tried to talk to other people, we tried to start conversation, we tried to do some marketing, and because everyone else was trying to do the same thing, we kept getting rejection after rejection after rejection. And how many of you could relate to this? How many of you have ever just had one of those days where you just have one, I don't know, maybe you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and then things just like keep going wrong for you, and you have one of those crazy long days at work, so that when the time comes for you to leave, you're just like, good heavens, I just want to go home, I just want to crash and like never wake up again. Who can relate to that? Who knows what I'm talking about? Yeah. And we're getting in the car, and Heather, of course, is the most amazing person I've ever met. That's the reason why I married her. And she was trying to keep us positive. She was trying to tell jokes, and she was trying to just lighten the mood a little bit. And of course, how many of you can relate that when you're really, really ticked off in one of those moods, the last thing you want is people telling jokes and being positive, right? And so my father-in-law and I were just sitting there, we're just being grumpy. We're just like, good heavens, what a stupid expo. This is a terrible day. Nobody's buying anything. We're losing money. And Heather just looked at me with those beautiful hazel eyes of hers, and she just said, well, Eric, what could we do to keep a positive attitude regardless of how the expo turns out? Now, when your wife asks you a question like that, you know that she's serious. And as tempting as it was to give some sort of snarky answer, I probably would have ended up sleeping on the couch if I did. And I just looked at her, and how many of you have ever had that experience where a word, something comes out of your mouth that didn't come from you? You guys know what I'm talking about? And the phrase just came out of my mouth, well, we need to celebrate. Because celebration is the highest form of gratitude. And I went, where in the world did that come from? And so we went and actually did research on the different emotions and how the different emotions actually affect our brains and like the chemical compound, chemical makeup, the chemical reactions and everything that happens inside the body with the different emotions. And we found out that, celebration literally is the highest form of gratitude, because whatever we celebrate, we're literally giving thanks for whatever that is. And whatever we celebrate, we tend to get a lot more of. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Now, everyone willing to do a little exercise for me?
Yes.
Everyone close your eyes. And in your mind, I invite you to remember an experience that you had during which you celebrated like there was no tomorrow. Maybe it was a graduation. Maybe it was your wedding day. Maybe it was the day that a child was born. Maybe it was the day you aced a test, whatever it was. Just when you have that in your mind, raise your hand. And keep that image in your mind for a moment. As you were in that state, literally, could anything get you down? No, of course not. I mean, somebody could have come up to you and said anything to you. They could have dropped any type of bomb on you, figuratively or figuratively, and you would have been fine because you were in such a state of celebration and such a state of gratitude. Yes or yes?
Yes.
And do me a favor. Keep your eyes closed and breathe that gratitude in. And take your hands and lightly press your heart. And allow yourself to anchor that gratitude, that celebration into your heart, so that any time you press on your heart, you are suddenly filled with gratitude and celebration. And now in your minds, go to another moment in which you felt total and complete gratitude. And step into that moment and feel the gratitude and the celebration that you had in that moment. And breathe that gratitude in, that celebration in, and allow yourself to be filled with that celebration and that gratitude. And gently tap your heart and allow yourself to anchor it in. And open your eyes. As I mentioned, is it possible that one of, not the only, but one of the reasons why we tend to be such a depressed country could be a lack of celebration? Remember, whatever we celebrate, we get more of. Unfortunately, as I mentioned before, most of us love to complain about the good things in our life, and then we wonder why we don't get more. How many parents do we have in the room? How many of you were once kids, at least at one point? There were people that didn't raise their hands. That's weird. Now, those of you parents in the room, or those of you future parents in the room, when Christmas time is coming up, yes or yes?
Yes.
How many of you have ever made this fatal mistake before of giving your kids like some clothes for Christmas? Anybody ever make that mistake before? Like they're like super excited about getting some sort of toy, and they open it up and you're like, you gave me underwear? Like seriously? Yeah. How many of you had that experience before? Say yes.
Yes.
How many of you have done that as children? Be honest. How many of you wouldn't raise your hands regardless of what I asked? Got a few of you on that one. Now, as parents, which would you be more likely to do? Would you be more likely to give a child more good things if they are super, super grateful? Or if they said, oh, that's what you're giving me? Oh, forget this. Who'd be more likely on the first one? Yeah, and who'd be a lot more likely if they just said, oh, never mind, I don't want to hear that? No, of course not. Who in their right mind would do that? It's kind of like, one of the things I love about Thanksgiving is, I'm a foodie. Anybody else? I love to cook. I love to eat. And I love to share as much food as I possibly can with other people because that's one of my love languages. I love being with other people. In fact, one of the, can I tell you just kind of a crazy random fact about me? If I invite you to my home and I actually plate a meal and I put it in front of you, or if I take you out to dinner and I pay for a meal for you, to me, that means I hold you in the absolute highest regard. It's just something weird about me because I'm a big foodie, and Thanksgiving is coming up, which is like the biggest foodie day of the entire year. Yes or yes?
Yes.
So now you're willing to do one more exercise for me? Everyone close your eyes. And in your mind, I want you to imagine that you have spent 3 days preparing this gourmet Thanksgiving meal. And all of your family has said that they were coming. And you're going, oh my goodness, this is going to be the be-all, end-all Thanksgiving meals. And you put your whole heart and soul into this Thanksgiving meal. You don't just prepare a turkey. You prepare prime rib. And you prepare a honey-baked ham. And you prepare everything you possibly can. Everything, you put your whole heart and soul into this meal. And about 20 minutes before your family is supposed to arrive, you get a text message saying, oh, hey, we were thinking of going to your house, but we're kind of tired, and so we're just going to stay home today. And you say, well, oh, okay, well, my friends are still coming, so no big deal. And you hear a knock on the door, and you think, oh, they're here! Oh my goodness, I can finally share this amazing meal with them. And so you hurry, and you get everything out of the oven, you put it on the table, you answer the door, and they come in, and they see all the food that you've prepared. And they go, no thank you. I think we're going to go to McDonald's instead. And they turn around and they leave. By a show of hands, how many of you would be a little less likely to prepare a Thanksgiving meal in the future? But isn't it interesting? Well, go ahead and open your eyes. That we do this very thing with everything that we've been blessed with. True or true? We love to hate on the cars that we drive. We love to hate on the jobs that we've been blessed with. And most people love to hate on their bodies in some way, shape, or form. Who knows what I'm talking about? In fact, especially around Thanksgiving time, people love to hate on a couple areas of their bodies. The first one is there, and the second one is there. So you want to get a little hokey one more time with me? The way to overcome this, of course, is to celebrate literally everything. What do? Celebrate everything. Do me a favor, reach over, grab the arm of the person next to you. Just give them a little shake and say, you gotta celebrate everything. It's okay. In fact, one of the things, where are my personal mentoring students in the room? These are some of my highest level clients, and one of the things that we teach them to do during their very first appointment is we have them follow what we call a champion training, or a morning and evening routine, and that sets them up for success. And so they do visualization and they do gratitude exercise. And one of the things we have them do is in the morning, actually in a very, very cool way, just give themselves some love, meaning they give themselves a little hug, or they look at themselves in the mirror, and as weird as it sounds, as hokey as it may look and feel the very first time, their self-esteem goes through the roof. And so you want to play along with me for just a moment?
Sure.
Everyone take your hands just like this. Grab the belly. If it's anything like mine, it might be kind of squishy. Give it a little rub. Squish it a little bit. And just look down and say, I love my belly. I celebrate my belly. Tell the person next to you, I got a nice belly. Hands out. Grab the bum. Sir, your bum, not her bum. Come on, let's go. Give it a little squish. Don't make it weird. And say, I love my bum. I celebrate my bum. Tell the person next to you, I got a nice bum. Hands out. Grab the bum of the person next to you. Just kidding. My friends, if you take nothing away from this tonight, well, obviously you're going to remember that some guy almost made you grab the bum of the person next to you. I get it. But if you take nothing else away, please do yourself a favor. Take some time each day to celebrate the things in your life. One of the things that we encourage people to do is to actually keep what we call celebration journal. What's it called?
Celebration journal.
And this is a journal that you keep right next to your bed, and every single evening you open it up, you write the date, and you write down at least 1 or 2 accomplishments for the day. And these could be like super ginormous accomplishments, like shout out some accomplishments that could be super ginormous. Let me hear you.
Getting incorporated.
Getting incorporated, yeah, what else? Getting a friend, writing a book, what else?
Getting first sale.
Your first sale, getting engaged, yeah, they could be these super huge, enormous accomplishments. Or they could be these little tiny ones. Like, I'm still breathing today. Like, I made it through the entire day. I tied my own shoes. Like, I put on clean undies today. That's a big deal for some people. Because what happens is, again, what we celebrate, we get more. And to the brain, an accomplishment is an accomplishment. And so over time, you start to get this massive list of accomplishments. And whenever you start to feel yourself dipping into depression, what we do is open up the celebration journal, and it's like, that was me. I put on clean undies 6 days in a row, almost done. And it's like, it's me. And the celebration process begins to work inside the person's brain. And so my friend's going to give you some homework tonight.
Sure.
Who'd be willing? Who will actually do it? Excellent. How many of you will commit tonight to starting a celebration journal? And keep your hands up. And how many of you will actually do it? Reach over, lock the pinkies with the people next to you. And repeat after me. I pinky promise.
I pinky promise.
Starting tonight.
Starting tonight.
I'll keep a celebration journal.
I'll keep a celebration journal.
And from this moment forward.
And from this moment forward.
I will celebrate even the most ridiculous times of my life.
I will celebrate even the most ridiculous times of my life.
I'll even write about it in my celebration journal.
I'll even write about it in my celebration journal.
Because I know if I don't,
Because I know if I don't,
Eric's gonna hunt me down.
Eric's gonna hunt me down.
And that'd be creepy.
And that would be creepy.
Give your neighbor a high five and say, you're doing awesome. Because how many of you would agree that a lot of times even the most ridiculous, even the most challenging, even the most trying times of our life can also be the greatest blessings? Who would agree with that statement? Say yes.
Yes.
How many of you have personal experiences with that?
Yes.
Where it's like, okay, this really, really stinks in the moment. Oh, good heavens, I don't want to relive it again, but oh boy, am I so glad that I've gone through that. Who knows what I'm talking about? And so from this moment forward, my simple invitation to you is celebrate and give thanks. And also receive thanks. How possible is it to give thanks to someone if they don't receive it? Does this make sense? A lot of people are really, really good at giving at this time of year, but they aren't so good at receiving the rest of the year. Does that make sense? How many of you have certain two people that come to the home like once a month because they have to be your friends, and they come to your home every month? Anybody who knows what I'm talking about? And those people at the end of the month, they always ask the same question. They always say, "Is there anything that we can do?" And of course, the normal answer is no, because we're good, we're fine. And of course, notice the swatting away energy. Is it possible that we could be a little bit better at receiving good things when they come into our lives? Is it possible that we could actually be denying people blessings and good things by denying them the chance to serve? My friends, please not only celebrate the things in your life, but please also be excellent at receiving thanks, not just giving it. And so one more time, let's get a little help. You wrap your arm around the person next to you. Pull them in. And just say, "I'm so glad you're sitting next to me." And look the person in the eyes and just say, "Thank you very much."
Thank you very much.
And just say, "I receive your thank you."
I receive your thank you.
Gotta love that awkward moment when you turn to look at your neighbor and they're both looking the other way. If it's okay with you, I just want to end with this. Just this last week, we actually came out with a brand new audio recording. It's called Heart and Soul. And it's a very, very brief, but very, very powerful gratitude exercise. And as I mentioned, I'm a licensed hypnotherapist, and One of the things that is really, really fascinating is seeing the power of visualization and meditation take place inside people. And so if it's okay with you, what I'd like to do is just take everyone through a very, very brief but very powerful gratitude exercise. Would that be okay with you?
Yes.
We got to get a little hokey one more time. We're okay with hokey, yes?
Yes.
Excellent. Everyone close your eyes. And start by taking a deep breath all the way in. And blow it out through your mouth. And as you do, I invite you to focus your breathing in your heart. Breathe deeply into your heart now. And focus all of your attention into your heart. Go now and allow yourself to be one with your heart. And as you allow yourself to breathe deeply into your heart and be one with your heart, feel the strength, the power, and the beauty of your being. Allow yourself to feel the beating of your heart. And allow yourself to feel gratitude that your heart is beating, that you have life. Consider that for a moment. You have life. You have a body, a brilliant body that moves and functions and sees and hears and tastes and smells and connects. This body that was given to you as a gift from your Maker. And now as you continue to breathe in your heart, remember a moment in your life during which you were totally and completely grateful. Perhaps this is a moment that you were proud of. Perhaps this was a moment that you met someone or connected with someone. Breathe into your heart and allow yourself to feel that powerful, wonderful moment, that magical moment. Feel how sacred that moment was and is, and allow yourself to feel total and complete gratitude for that moment. What a gift that moment was. And go to that moment now. Step fully into that moment and be present. See what you saw, hear what you heard, feel what you felt in that moment. And allow yourself to smile and be fully present in that moment. And notice your breathing. How do you breathe when you are in total and complete gratitude? And allow yourself to celebrate in your mind this moment and all other moments like this one. For as you know, celebration is the highest form of gratitude. And as you feel this intense feeling of gratitude and celebration, press deeply on your heart now and anchor this feeling in. Lock this feeling of gratitude and celebration in so that from this moment forward, all you need to do is press on your heart and you instantly and automatically feel gratitude and celebration. Now, think of a second moment. Think of a second moment that you can truly celebrate in your life. And step fully into that second moment. And see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel what you felt when you were in that moment. Notice your breathing as you continue to breathe deeply into your heart, feeling total and complete gratitude and celebration. Breathe that feeling in, deeply into your heart. And once again, press gently on your heart to anchor that feeling in. That beautiful feeling of gratitude and celebration from that special, magical moment. And fill yourself with that sacred feeling. And continue breathing deeply into your heart. And think of a third moment in your life during which you felt totally and completely grateful and thankful. Think of the beauty of that moment and all that that moment has done for your life. And go now to that moment and feel what you felt in that moment. See what you saw and hear what you heard in that moment. And allow yourself to be filled gratitude and celebration. Feel the love you have in your heart as you continue breathing deeply into your heart. Become totally and completely present in that moment, allowing that feeling to spread throughout your entire body. And gently press your heart to anchor that gratitude and celebration in, so that from this moment forward, anytime you press your heart, you are filled with that incredible feeling of gratitude and celebration. And continuing in this state, stay in your heart and out of your head. Continuing in your heart, continue to breathe deeply, fully into your heart, feeling grateful. And consider an area of your life that perhaps isn't going quite the way you would like it to go. That one area of your life that you know you simply lack answers to. That if you had the answer, that extra knowledge, that extra wisdom, you know you could fix that area of your life in an instant. And staying in your heart, allow those answers to come flowing freely to you until the answers become clear as day, bright as the sun. For your heart knows the answer. Your heart knows all answers. And ask yourself, what do I need to focus on, remember, or do to resolve this one area once and for all in my life? And allow the answer to come to you. And breathe the answer in. And allow yourself to feel completely grateful for that answer. And celebrate having received this answer in your mind. And speak these words out loud. I am confident.
I'm confident.
I've got this.
I've got this.
I am grateful.
I'm grateful.
I am powerful.
I'm powerful.
I am enough.
I'm enough.
I am free.
I'm free.
And I choose to celebrate.
I choose to celebrate.
And keeping in the state of gratitude, celebration, and confidence, when the time comes, you will remember each and every one of these answers. At the end of this meeting, when you get home, or the first chance you have to write these answers down, each and every one of these answers will come freely and readily to your mind, won't they? Will it surprise you how quickly, easily, and freely these answers come to your mind? And how simply and easily you apply these answers, allowing yourself to step fully into the most powerful, great, and amazing person that you were designed to be. And keeping and staying in your heart in this state of gratitude and celebration. Open your eyes and go and make it happen. My friends, thank you so very much for being here.